So let's get right to it. We're going to get started with the National Basketball Association, or as they say, the association, where I want to talk about a few teams that made moves before the trading deadline and their chances of making a deep run in the playoffs. We'll start with the Lakers, who snapped a 9-game losing streak to the Denver Nuggets on Saturday, beating them 123-100. Luka Doncic dropped 32 points on the Nuggets' home floor, putting up his best game by far as a Laker. And on top of that, Los Angeles never trailed, winning in Denver for the first time since April of 2022. In case you forgot, the Lakers had lost 13 of their previous 14 games against the Nuggets, so let's not forget that. There's two things that I'm noticing. Number one, LeBron James. Listen, Michael Jordan is my GOAT, but I will openly confess, with the kind of stuff that you're seeing from LeBron James at age 40, his 22nd season in the National Basketball Association, the brother's just phenomenal, okay? You got to give it up where it's due. And considering how he looks, his physical prowess, the speed, the athleticism, the agility, and everything that comes with it, there's no denying his greatness and what he brings to the table. And that's the reason why I can say what I'm about to say, and that is that the Lakers are not a team to ignore in this championship equation. Because now that they got Luka Doncic, we assumed that they were going to be potent offensively. We assumed that ultimately Luka would get loose. We assumed that with those things going on, that the Lakers would win more than they lost because of what they're doing offensively. Here's what we didn't assume. We didn't assume that they would elevate defensively. We thought they were undersized with their front line, and you see whether it's Hachimura, whether it's Austin Reeves, whether it's Dorian Finney-Smith or anybody else, they've got size on the wing, so they got enough big bodies to front opposing big bodies, okay, or to at least create some kind of impediment along with the speed and athleticism and agility to get out to defend against perimeter and three-point shooters as quickly as possible. It's made them one of the top defenses in the game over the last 10 games. And that's the team that showed up against Denver on Saturday night. If that team shows up for the rest of this regular season into the playoffs, the Lakers are going to be a top 4 seed in the West. They're going to have home court advantage in the first round of the playoffs. They're going to have a shot to advance to the conference finals, dare I say. Ladies and gentlemen, we got to pay attention to Los Angeles Lakers. Because with the ball being in Luka's hands, as it was Saturday night in Denver, LeBron James was free to roam, free to cut, free to roam, free to do a lot of different things that his athleticism and his superior talents would allow. He can be off the ball and do major, major damage. And Luka is better with the ball in his hands because we know he ain't cutting to the basket. We know he's not going to have a lot of movement without the basketball. So if they found that formula, and that's something that LeBron James is willing to embrace like he did Saturday night, ladies and gentlemen, the Lakers are officially a problem. A problem. Which brings me to the other team that I didn't think was going to be a problem at all. And you know who that is? That's the Golden State Warriors. What the hell am I talking about? Welcome back. Now let's get to the Golden State Warriors, who acquired Jimmy Butler before the trading deadline. The Warriors beat the Dallas Mavericks last night, 126-102, and are now 5-1 since trading for Jimmy Butler. By the way, Butler made his home debut in that game, scoring 18 points. He continues to make a difference for the Warriors with his ability to get to the free throw line. Butler was 8 for 8 from the line and has attempted 55 foul shots through his first 6 games with the Golden State Warriors. See, that's a key element right there. Because, listen, y'all, think about this. Steph Curry is the greatest shooter God ever created. He can dance on you and create his own shot off the dribble and launch from 30, 40 feet with ease. This is who we're talking about, the great Steph Curry. Having said all of that, it's very, very important to point this out. One of the greatest attributes he has is his conditioning. You've had people that have had to go to the hospital after games just to get some oxygen because of having to defend against this brother, because he got them running around all day, every day. Here's the difference. He is approaching 37 years of age. He's not the youngest spring chicken anymore. And so when you take that into consideration, you have to understand that you need to give him a break any chance you get. Well, guess what? Sometimes that means going out and getting another body. And getting the other body that could sub for him so you could bring him on the bench and give him some rest. Well, guess what the Golden State Warriors did? They won up that. Because by getting somebody like Jimmy Butler and making him the second most used offensive player. His usage rate is at 23% compared to Steph Curry's usage rate, which is at 29%. Because it's like that, Jimmy Butler's in a situation where he's getting his looks as the secondary offensive option, but he gets to the free throw line. And so you talk about 60 to 90 seconds, it may take you to finish your free throws if you're Jimmy Butler. And when that happens, that's exactly the kind of break that Steph Curry needs to stay in a game without coming out of the game, which means that the Warriors are able to utilize him even more so as a threat. That's what Jimmy Butler does for them. That's one of the reasons they're 5-1. That's one of the reasons you have to look at them with the other teams in the Western Conference. Maybe not OKC, maybe not Denver because of Jokic, but you got LA. Yeah, you got the Clippers. Yeah, you got Dallas. When Dallas comes back with Anthony Davis healthy and Daniel Gafford healthy, look out for Dallas. Let's not forget them. But if you're Memphis, if you're Houston, if you're Phoenix, Sacramento, stuff like that, it can get interesting. It can get interesting. It's going to be real interesting to see what Golden State is going to do, especially since Draymond Green said, we are going to win the NBA championship. Everybody's going to hold him to that. At the very least, all he has to do is make it interesting. Make sure they don't get bounced out in the play-in or the first round. Golden State, worth a look. Somebody I thought was worth a look may not necessarily be so. It might not even get as far as they got last year. Take a guess who the hell I'm talking about. I'll tell you who that is. Welcome back. Unfortunately, I got to talk about my New York Knicks, who lost yesterday to the Boston Celtics. Final score was 118 to 105. Look, y'all, this team doesn't have a chance to make a deep run in the playoffs. Yes, the New York Knicks are the third best team in the Eastern Conference, and they don't have a chance of, or should I say, they're not going to beat Boston or Cleveland, okay? I'm going to admit it. They're just not going to do it. Cleveland kicked their ass Friday night. It's pretty damn bad. I mean, they bust their living ass. Just romped them. And that was without, I'm just looking at them. Donovan Mitchell just doing what he wants to do. And they picked up DeAndre Hunter, and they still got Mobley. And Mobley and Allen are so formidable defensively, and then you can take Hunter and put him out on the wing. They still got Max Strus. They're going to have Darius Garland, who was out over the weekend. I'm just saying. Here's the interesting thing to say about the New York Knicks. The New York Knicks, from a talent perspective, is better than what they were last year. But they don't have the same grit. They don't have the same dog in them. They don't have that. Karl Anthony Towns is the best shooting big man in basketball, without question. I hate seeing the brother put the ball on the floor because his knees are high, and every time he jumps, he comes down, and it's awkward, and then all of a sudden you see those knees hurting. I just don't trust it. He needs to be in the post with his back to the basket or away from the basket, catching and shooting. He does not need to be putting the ball on the floor because he's 6'11". He's putting the ball on the floor. All of those legs being exposed, and they're going to low bridge him. They're going to cut up under him. He's going to get hurt. And we don't need that problem. Somebody, I don't know if he wants me to tell y'all this, he's a superstar. He's a very famous person in America, in Hollywood. And I won't tell you who he is. But I want to say he hurt my feelings. And when I tell you what he said, he knows who he is when I repeat it, because he knows what the hell he said to me this morning. It really hurt my feelings. It really made me want to question our friendship, considering the fact that he knows how much of a diehard Knicks fan I am, and he would say something like this to me because it really hurt me. It hurt my heart. You know what he said? When the New York Knicks traded Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo, even though they ain't doing so great with that trade either, my friend said to me, the New York Knicks traded 2 dogs for a cat. That shit hurt. Because Karl Anthony Towns is a bad brother. He can play. And I'm happy to have him as a New York Knick. But when I see the personality transplant, the grit that was there last year that is no longer there. See, the New York Knicks last year don't get blown out like they did this weekend. Them brothers were scrappy. Knicks are talented. And you know how you know that's true? When did we ever think we would see a Tom Thibodeau team have one of the worst defenses in basketball and the absolute worst against the three-point shot? When did we ever believe we would see that? I'm just asking a legitimate question. There's no way around it. We have to pay attention to that. Okay? We just do.